Chapter 4, Rook against Pawn. This is, by the way, also very well dealt with by Mark Turetsky in his excellent Endgame University, and several examples are based on his treatment. Single pawn sometimes has decent drawing chances against the rook, and this is one of the reasons, only one, but okay, maybe not the least, that rook endings have such a large drawish tendency. I think here it is good to know a few important motifs and positions, and then you can master the endgame altogether. Of course, one of the good things of chess is that this is possible only with very seldom endgame types, but here it is. Okay, the first I want to mention is a stalemate defense with a knight's pawn or the defense by under promotion. The position is a draw. White can try the check, and now with a knight's pawn, black has two possible defenses. With a rook's pawn, black would be lost in this formation, and the other pawns, they are only the under promotion would draw. Here it draws as well, but I advise you not to try this. It is a draw, as the knight is near the king. More about this in the chapter on rook against knight. But yeah, this is a draw, but with a knight's pawn it would be bad technique to draw like this. You have to play on until you can claim the 50 move rule. So, while if you use the stalemate defense, then the game is immediately drawn. Okay, next comes the cut-off, a very important fighting technique of the powerful rook. Yeah, if the rook manages to cut off the king and to separate it from the pawn, then the attacker always wins if the cutoff is above the middle of the board. The middle of the board plays a very high role in many of these endgame guidelines, as you have doubtlessly noticed already. Yeah, and this is one of the deep laws of the royal game. Maybe if I can put it like that. Law is maybe not the right secret. Okay, it's whatever. So this is one. Okay, it wouldn't be sufficient. A cutoff on the fourth rank would be insufficient. So now this is just for educational reasons, of course. Nobody would play this big blunder. Now the cutoff is insufficient, as the pawn threatens to go to c2, forcing the rook to abandon the cutoff, and then it would be a draw here. But this cutoff always wins, as if the pawn advances further, it can be won first and then the game won later. So the cutoff always wins if it is above the middle of the board, here on the 5th rank from white's point of view, or 6th rank, or 7th rank, of course. And even with a pawn on c5, rook g5 would be the right move. This cut-off style move. Very strong. Rook, king g7 would run into the body check, and the game would be a draw. Body check, by the way, is the most important motive of the whole endgame. Rook against pawn. I will deal with it in the next example. But first, this. Now the king is forced to march the long way. Excuse me. Forced to march the long way. And this is, takes too much time. White's king arrives in time, and white has avoided the body check and wins. So this cutoff is even, motive is even good to know in situations like this. Yeah, black to move and draw, and really go deeply into the position, because I think that the first human intention would be to push their pawn and then to hope for the best. So here it really pays to know that body check is the most important principle of this endgame. Only move, preparing the body checks. Now there are two body checks, but only this draws. Now there's only one body check, and it is also the only move to draw. With with this knowledge, it is possible to solve it. Without it, over the board, it would be extremely difficult to overcome the first idea to just push the pawn. Yeah, to follow the guideline, past pawns must be pushed. Okay, but when such two guidelines collide, you should always be extremely careful. And here concrete calculation will show that f3 loses. So it can be eliminated. f3 loses. Now the body check is not in time. White will set the body check himself. And white wins. Yeah, so king f3 is the only move to draw. Okay, here we could put another guideline above these, that in this endgame body check is the most important, but still this won't help. You must use concrete calculation in such cases where the two good guidelines collide directly. This is one of the famous studies of Richard Rati, Why to Move and Win, how to The problem is how to involve white's king into the fight. Rook d2 or rook d3. Rook d1. And now in the position of mutual Zugzwang, it is black to move. Zugzwang is not a weapon of the attacker here. It is now mutual Zugzwang, so white had to be careful and precise to put black on the move. And now king f6 or king d7, which is a way to play for or avoid body checks. This would be a big mistake, running directly into the body check, and the game is a draw. So king d7, and then going the other way round, and white wins. This was the point. King d7, and then black's king has to choose one side, and white's king will choose the other one to avoid a body check. This is also a very typical fighting technique connected with a body check. Now comes the next important motive, and the last for the rook against pawn business you should know. Black to move and win. Hamdushi Topolov. Zwischenschach. Very important. As king d4, to bring the slower unit back first, spoils it. Now it's a draw. White is just in time, and this is a theoretical position which is pays to know. The only move is king g7, and then the only move is king f8, and then white draws. This is one of the positions you should know, and of course king g7 is the only move to draw. First, Topolov had to give Zwischenschach to improve the rook. Now the rook is improved behind the pass pawn, and white's king has been forced back from g6 to g5. And now black is in time. And now it's not white to move with king g7 and draw, it is black to move. Okay, the rook wasn't there, but it doesn't matter. White to move would draw with king g7 here. But black to move wins. It's over. Now white is somehow in the body check, and yeah, this is of course lost. Yeah. One example with more pawns. Here I think the most important guideline is that the attacking king should be brought back first. This is the most important guideline. And so your candidate moves, your list of candidate moves, if sorted, the probably best or likely best first, should be sorted like king c4 is the first candidate move, rook takes g6, c6 the second, and maybe rook takes e2 the third, and then other moves in whatever order. It is not, okay, this is just, don't play it immediately, it is just a list of candidate moves you have. And now you can use, here it would repay to calculate the alpha move. Okay, you could also do some calculation here and find out that this is a draw and then eliminate it. Also possible, of course. Yeah, also possible. Depending on the way how you approach such a position. The more concrete approach or the more guideline-based approach. With the guideline-based approach, this should be your first line of analysis. And now you could also look at king e6 and other things, but everything loses. Yeah, this is easy. This is maybe also now relatively easy. Okay, now the king, bringing the king back. Yeah, but with king, rook takes e2 is of course okay. Here comes the next and critical position. Okay, and as you guessed now, the list of candidate moves is sorted like whatever, king d6, king takes c6, rook check, whatever. And yeah, the only move to win is king d6, body check. The king must be brought back first. And now there is nothing that white can do. Over. Yeah, c7 then, the body check, pace, the king must go in front and is cut off from the body checks. The rook now cuts off the king from the body check side. Yeah, and white is lost. Yeah, without body checks is very slow indeed. Yeah. Game over. Because after king h8, of course not the pawn is taken, but the mate is delivered. Okay, I agree this example was a bit quick and so on, but I think the guideline nevertheless is good. Bring back, the attacker should bring back his king first. This has the highest priority, but it cannot be played on automatic guideline alone. You must, of course, in your game, calculate king c4. At least make sure that you can't lose. And maybe you can even make sure, given enough time, yet you will win in all variations. But that, of course, is a matter of concrete calculation. This cannot be decided by guidelines alone, fortunately.